Hi everyone, my name's Dwayne and I am going to talk to you about financial aid. So we'll call this presentation Determine Financial Sources. And this presentation is designed to give you some information about financial aid options for students so that students can be ready to apply and they'll have a general sense of how to go about getting financial aid from college sources, state sources, and federal sources. So because you're not able to see my slides, I'm just going to tell you when I change the slides. I'll say I'm on slide number 1 or 2. So right now I'm on slide number 1, and you'll be able to follow that way. So moving over to slide number 2. We're going to talk about state financial aid in California. So before we even start, in case you are sitting at a computer and you want to look at this, the California Community College's website regarding financial aid is www.icanAffordCollege.com. So that's ICANAFFORDCOLLEGE.com. And that's set up by the California Community Colleges, and that'll give you a lot of information about financial aid options that are within the state of California. And so one of the main options for community college students is the Board of Governors fee waiver, which if you ever go to a financial aid office at a community college, they're going to call it the Bog Fee Waiver. Some people call it the Bog Grant. But it is a fee waiver, and what it generally does is it pays tuition at the community college. And so it doesn't pay for things like books or living expenses or anything else. It's just really focused as a tuition-based financial aid at the community college level. So it's also not at the university level, and this is part of the California Board of Governors grant. Slide number 3, I'll talk a little bit about the Bog Fee Waiver. And so to qualify for the Bog Fee Waiver, the student needs to be a resident of California. So according to the University of San Diego, residency includes being physically present in California for more than 365 days prior to beginning college, and the student must have the intent to make California home. So that means the student's not just coming to California to go to school, but their intention is to be in California and to make it your home. So if you've born and raised in California, or you've lived here for several years, you're good to go. If you're a student who's just moving into California and your intent is to make California your home once you've lived here for over 365 days, then you would qualify as a California resident. And so then you could apply for the Bog Fee Waiver, and you wouldn't be paying any kind of out-of-state tuition or anything like that. So that's for California residents. Now there's also what we call the DREAM Act, which was AB 540. And the AB 540 is, it does not provide the Bog Fee Waiver, but it does allow for students who are immigrants or undocumented students in California who make California, whose home has been California, then those students only have to pay the in-state tuition rate. So this is targeted towards immigrants. So it's not the Bog Fee Waiver, but instead of paying the out-of-state tuition rate, the immigrant student who is a resident of California would only pay the in-state fee. So now let's go back to the Bog Fee Waiver though. So the Bog Fee Waiver for California residents allows any resident to make up to a certain amount of money. So I'm not going to go through all of the levels, but let's just say for one person can make an annual salary of $17,505 and still qualify for the Bog Fee Waiver. So if you make that much money or less and you're a California resident, who is a U.S. citizen, then you can qualify for the Bog Fee Waiver, and with making less than $17,505. So let's say you were a family of 4, you could actually make $35,775 for the family of 4. That means the whole family, and still have the student qualify for the Bog Fee Waiver. So it goes up from there, but it does allow students to have an income. So it might be that you work part-time, it might be that you do a local job on campus, it might be that you do a local job in the local community, that jobs in things like food service and retail, where you might not be making a lot of money, it still allows you to make money and still qualify for the Bog Fee Waiver. And let's go to slide number 4, and we'll talk specifically about the California Dream Act, which is Assembly Bill 540. And if you want to look that up, it is at www.ab540.com, www.ab540.com. That was signed by Governor Gray Davis on October 12th, 2001. So that was right at the turn of the century. And in California has been active all these years, and it allows immigrant students to pay resident tuition. But here are the conditions for the immigrant student and the resident tuition. You must meet the following criteria. You have to have attended a California high school for at least 3 years. So high school is 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. So 3 of those years needed to be in a California high school. Now they don't have to be consecutive, so it doesn't have to be 10, 11, 12. It could be 9th grade and 11th grade and 12th grade. Some mix of the 3 years. And you also need to have graduated from the high school or have the GED. And the student needs to fill out an affidavit that says that the student will apply for U.S. residency as soon as it's possible. So those are the criteria that's involved in the California Dream Act for an immigrant student. Okay, slide number 5. Along with California being one of the states that has an opportunity for immigrant students, according to the California Community College's website, which is the ICanAffordCollege.com website, 11 states have laws that are similar to AB 540. So the states are Illinois, Kansas, I'm going to do them in alphabetical order, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, Oklahoma, Texas, Utah, Washington, and Wisconsin. I'm missing one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm missing one. Oh, and California, 11. So there are 11 states that have laws similar to AB 540 that allows students to, immigrant students who are not documented, the ability to have in-state tuition. Now, students who are, these immigrant students cannot move from one state to another and have that in-state tuition go with them. If you move from, let's say, California to Illinois or Illinois to California, it's as if you were a regular resident, U.S. citizen student, and you would pay out-of-state tuition. So that it's only the benefit is for students who are in the state going to a college within their same state. Okay, slide number 6. In California, at the university level, there's something called Cal Grants, and so this is for recent high school graduates who are planning to attend a CSU, which is a California State University, or a UC, which is a University of California system. So those are our 2 state university programs in California, and so CSU and UC. So if you're planning to go there, the award for Cal Grant would pay for tuition and fees. And students who are attending a community college in California can also apply. However, you don't receive your aid until you actually get to the CSU or the UC. So if you're in a community college, you can apply for the aid, but you won't get the aid until you get up to the university level. So, and I'm not sure how that will affect for community colleges that are starting to offer bachelor's degrees, because in California we have 15 colleges now that are offering community colleges are offering bachelor's degrees, but I haven't heard how Cal Grant may or may not be involved in that. There are multiple Cal Grant options. Some of them are entitlement based, which means it's based on your income, and some of them are competitive. So if you want to find more out about the Cal Grants, the website to go to is www.csac.ca.gov. So www.csac, California Student Aid Commission, .ca for California, .gov for government. So if you click on that website, you will be able to find out more information about Cal Grants. On slide number 7, we'll do the introduction to federal student aid. So just in case you didn't know, according to the book, which is called The States and Public Higher Education Policy, Affordability, Access, and Accountability. This is a second edition, edited by Donald E. Heller. In 1944, the GI Bill was introduced, and that was to support World War II veterans, and that was the beginning of financial support for individual students at the college level. So from that point until now, obviously financial support for individuals has expanded. We'll talk about that as we go forward here in just a minute. So once upon a time, it was for military veterans, especially from World War II when it started. That kept going for a while, the GI Bill, and then federal support for students. Essentially all students in the United States can apply for it. You don't have to be military. You can apply for now federal funding, and so that's expanded a lot since 1944 when it was introduced. So slide number 8 is titled on mine, Federal Financial Aid. And so we talk about the free application for federal student aid. So that is called, financial aid offices will call it the FAFSA, free F application A for federal F student S aid. FAFSA, free application for federal student aid. So FAFSA is the main place that students will apply for any type of federal financial aid. And actually, it's one website, and you go through its questions and answers, and it'll help you qualify for whatever it is that you qualify for. So the website for it is FAFSA.ed.gov. So FAFSA.ed.gov. So this is a U.S. Department of Education website, and that's where you would go and fill out your FAFSA application. So please don't go into somebody else's website and fill out the FAFSA form. You'll be able to pick your college from going into this website. And most definitely, do not pay somebody to help you with what is a free service, and that is, do not pay to have somebody fill out your FAFSA form for you, or pay them to submit your information, especially not online when you don't know who they are. This is free. Anyone can do it. All you got to do is go to the FAFSA website and log in and fill out the form. The application process is fairly easy and it's fairly self-explanatory. So as long as you're decently conversant with a computer, you'll probably have no problem getting through it. There is a question and answer, an FAQ, frequently asked questions page, that will answer a lot of your questions that may come up as you're filling out the form or before you're filling out the form. And so the website itself is very helpful to you. And the types of awards, there are more than these three, but the three main ones are the Pell Grant, the federal work study, and student loans. So the grant is something you wouldn't have to pay back. Work study, you don't have to pay back because you're working. And then student loans, which you would pay back. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So the FAFSA website is where you can go to be able to fill out the application for financial aid. And that's for community college and universities. And in many cases for your private funding as well, private universities. Excuse me. So the FAFSA application, the things that you're going to need as a student, so the things that students need to be able to fill out the FAFSA application is the Social Security number. So you got to have a Social Security number. If you don't, and you have an alien registration number, which means that you're an immigrant of some sort, however that is, on your green card, your alien registration number, you'll enter that. So it's either your Social Security number or your alien registration number. You'll fill that in. And then related to your finances, and by the way, I am on slide number 9 in case I didn't say that. You need your most recent federal income tax return. Your W-2 if you've worked, your W-2s, other records of income, and then records of untaxed income if you have such a thing. So you're going to get a federal student aid identification number to be able to sign, or identification, I don't know if it's a number for sure, federal student aid identification so that you're able to sign electronically. You need to have access to a computer or an electronic device to be able to fill out the application. And if you are a dependent student, which means that you're still living at home with your parents, if you're a dependent student, then you're going to need that information for you and your parent or parents, depending on your personal situation. Okay, slide number 10. Types of awards, we talked a little bit about that. The Pell Grant, which is a no repayment. And so when you look at the FAFSA.ed.gov website, you can look under the help page and you'll find types of awards. There are more than the 3, but the Pell Grant is a no repayment option. The Federal Work Study is also a no repayment option. And student loans, you do have to pay back, and you have to pay them back with interest. So I happen to have a couple of computers in front of me, so I'm just going to take a quick peek. At a couple of the other types of funding. Okay, so the Pell Grant is kind of generic across the board, as is the Federal Work Study, as is student loans, but there are a couple of specific awards as well. So one is a Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, and that is awarded for somebody with exceptional financial needs. So that means if you really, really are in what we'll say dire straits financially, then you may qualify for this, and you'll have to check with your individual college about the type of money and how much is available, because that's issued through the individual colleges itself. There's also a Teacher Education Assistance for College and Higher Education grant, and that's a grant that you wouldn't necessarily have to pay back as long as you keep the commitment. So here's the deal. Students who intend to teach in a public or a private elementary school or a secondary school that serves students from low-income families, if you work there, then it's a grant. If you don't go and provide that service commitment, then it might turn into a loan and you might have to pay it back. And then there's also a grant for students whose parents or guardians were members of the armed forces and they died as a result of performing military service in Iraq or Afghanistan after September 11th, 2001. And you must also have been under 24 years of age at the time of the parent or guardian's death. So if that's you, then there are some options available to you additional to the Pell Grant, the work study, and the student loans. Slide number 7, on-campus scholarships. So many campuses will have their scholarships housed in the financial aid office. Some campuses will have their scholarship, they'll actually have a scholarship office, and some will do it through like a foundation office. And so regardless, all you got to do is ask financial aid if they have a scholarship office or if they have options for on-campus or local scholarships, and you'll be directed in the right way. So for example, there's some community colleges where the foundation is actually connected to the local community, and then the local community donate money for their own scholarship. So for myself, I had actually set up a deaf studies scholarship at a local community college. So I give the money to the foundation office, and the foundation office is the one who manages that money and issues the checks either to the local community college, or if the student transfers to a university, they send the money that way. And then I, as the donor, go through a process of picking who the scholarship recipient is on an annual basis. Slide number 12. There are opportunities all over the web that talk about scholarships and grants, so just be careful when you're searching online about submitting any personal information. It's a good idea to research any websites about scholarships or organizations before you apply. Don't like fill out their form and give them all this information and then research them. It's also a good idea to not, as I said earlier, not pay for services related to scholarships and financial aid, because most of that's free. If you go to the college and they have the scholarship office or work through the financial aid or the foundation, they don't charge you for that. So you want to make sure that you know that you can do the FAFSA process for free, nor should you be paying anybody for that. And then you can apply for scholarships for free. You don't need to be paying somebody else to do searches or whatever for you. But you can try some online sources. I believe that there's a well, I'm not going to give any websites just in case they might not be reputable. So as you search, you do your own research about what might be reputable websites for searching. So we come to slide number 13, which is the final slide. The thing that you should do as a college student is focus on your learning, right? That way you can make your college experience worth the financial investment. So enjoy yourself at college, have fun, learn, let that be an investment in your future. And it's been fun talking to you. I'll talk to you again.